In 2003, Laura Lineberger, the great Laura Lineberger, had this idea of putting together a brass band of all females, a la Monarch Brass, um, and uh, and went to the North American Brass Band Association. I think it was in 2002 she did that, and just kind of talked to a bunch of brass players in the top two sections of the championships. And I was lucky enough to be in that quick meeting, and it was very informal, like in the hotel lobby or something. And I knew who she was, but didn't really know much about Laura yet. And so she kind of laid out her thoughts and plans for this thing called Athena Brass Band, and it sounded cool. So gave my information, and then that was kind of like the last I'd heard until several months later when I get this phone call and, hello, Jessica, this is Laura, and would you like to be a member of the Athena Brass Band? I was like, yes, please. Then she asked if I owned a bass trombone, and I foolishly said yes. I own one. I don't really play one, but it was okay. It was my in, so I took it. And so that year at 2003's IWBC, Athena Brass Band had its premiere performance. I showed up not knowing anything of what to expect. Anita Cocker Hunt, who I'd known from Cincinnati Brass Band, was the conductor. And I had a couple friends from the Brass Band of Columbus who were there, so some familiar faces, but a lot more people I just didn't know, and I'd heard names, but really hadn't understood who they were or what they meant to IWBC or brass bands in general. But the downbeat of that rehearsal was a feeling I will never, ever forget. It was incredible. And I mean, the sound, first of all, was phenomenal, but then just the vibe of this all female group. And I hadn't experienced that before, and it was very addictive. So I was the bass trombone player for that performance, and then subsequent performances, and several. I think we had done something like in 2003, 2005, 6, 7, every other year, sometimes every year, kind of depended on what was available. And it was just a blast. It was a blast as a bass trombonist. Brass band music is fun. It was a blast as a musician, just to play at that level, and to play with that level of musicians, and just to have this, almost like a getaway, like this retreat, to be just with friends, with making great music was really cool. In 2012, the group had two performances. One was at IWBC up in, I want to say Michigan, and I couldn't go to that. And it was my first thing I had missed with Athena, and it was heartbreaking. And I was like distraught, but my high school graduation was like the same time, so I couldn't, because I teach middle school and high school. And so, but then I get another call from Laura saying, "Hey, the band's going to play at the Gettysburg Brass Band Festival. We need a conductor." And I was like, "What?" And I had been conducting the Central Ohio Brass Band since 2005, so it'd been like 7 years, and I felt confident that I could do like a festival performance, a summer festival. The music's not too heavy or anything. So when she asked if I would do that, I said yes, and then I hung up and I was like, oh my gosh. And she was super helpful, very, very amazing mentor for anybody who would need one, but she's methodical, which I appreciate. And so that summer we kind of set up a program. She helped me with learning the ins and outs of how Athena works, and I'm still learning that, but it was a very comfortable first step into that. And I've been conducting Athena since, which is kind of awesome.